Welcome back to WuhooPoints podcast, where we just talk about credit card points, awesome nifty tools that you can use. One of them being Gondola AI over here. I have Zan, one of the founders, and he's just going to introduce himself a little bit real quick, and then we'll dive deep into what this tool does and how it can help you. So, Zan, welcome. I like to begin all my interviews and questions with just what's the best or most memorable trip you've taken on points?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Matthew, for having me. Yeah, I'm Zan. My favorite points trip generally is trips to the Mauna Kea Beach Hotel in Hawaii. I think that's like kind of the best Marriott redemption out there. But the most memorable one, when you kind of put it that way, and got me thinking about something else, is last year I had to go to New York for just a random meeting, and it happened to be my birthday. My birthday's in the winter, so it's like a winter, just like 24-hour trip, and I was like kind of dreading it. And then I was on Gondola looking for hotels, and I was like, I have this free night credit, free night award for Marriott, and so I ended up just like, I'll just book the St. Regis. And I was like, okay, this is like my treat yourself,
Yeah.
use points for this. Like it's your birthday, you're just, whatever. I mean, they took care of me so well for it being my birthday, right? They like sent multiple cakes up to my room, like different powders of like cookies and pastries, and it was just like what a great decision. It like took this like kind of dreary winter birthday for this like 24-hour work trip and turned it into like, oh, that was a really, really wonderful stay. So, hats tips to the St. Regis New York. That was a really memorable points redemption and very grateful for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's great for customer loyalty probably too, and
Oh,
just a
totally.
great customer experience. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was really
So,
wonderful.
yeah, speaking of hotels, I think that's kind of Gondola's bread and butter in some
Yeah.
ways. So for those of, I've seen Gondola ads all over my feeds. You guys are doing a great job targeting at least points and miles people. But for those people that have no idea what the heck this is, yeah, what is this tool and how does it help people from a brief overview? And we'll dive deeper into the details.
Yeah, I think broadly the way to think about Gondola is we want to take um, all these things that require a lot of work for frequent travelers and
Mhm.
do it for you for free quickly. And so there's a couple different things we do there. The first is we track all your points for you, and we tell you how much they're worth. We tell you when they're going to expire. The second is we track your upcoming hotel reservations, the prices of those. So if the prices drop, then we can let you know so that you can reprice them and save money. Um, uh, but probably the most interesting thing we do for this perspective in the hotels piece is we search every hotel chain and independent hotels direct rates simultaneously.
Mhm.
So we're searching for Hilton's, Marriott's, IHG's, and independent hotels all next to each other, and then we're recommending hotels based off of where you stayed in the past. And when you book, we actually help direct book for you. And so we direct book in such a way that you can earn your, so let's say, Hyatt points, your credit card points, and then Gondola will give you additional cash back on top of that. And so we're always trying to add new things that matter for travelers, but particularly that piece, when we see people using us to book, it's because they can triple stack
Yep.
points while also getting all of their normal status perks, their status nights, all of that stuff. Is why people use us.
Let's talk about the triple stack because I think some people
Yeah,
don't realize when they book on Expedia or Travelocity, right? Oh, it's cheaper than if I book the hotel directly. I have my reason as a points person why you shouldn't do that. But from your perspective, what's the difference between, third-party bookings and the benefits of these direct bookings?
yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple big benefits. I think the first is just how much you're earning as a part of this. So particularly if you're traveling for work or if you're, traveling frequently with cash bookings, there are people on Gondola who, because they're triple stacking, are earning 35% of their room rate back as points. So that's a free
Amazing.
night every 3 nights. So you're getting a lot of benefit from your travel, where you travel all year for work. You can take a 2 week vacation to Hawaii with the family,
Hmm.
right? And that's like a real benefit. That's the first part. I think the second part, right, which is just around customer support and customer service. I think that lots of people kind of in third party bookings, because the hotel doesn't um, own the booking, there's a lot of back and forth between an Expedia, for example, and the hotel
So
to
many
try to
horror
make it
stories.
right. And it's really challenging, right? There's this kind of mix match of like, how do you cancel it? How do you just the hotel's not able to do quite a bit because fundamentally it's Expedia's booking, for example.
Hmm.
Um, with Gondola, when you do direct bookings, right, it'll show up in your Marriott app, and you will be able to cancel it through the Marriott app. You'll get all your perks. You'll be able to, if you're ambassador, right? You can still reach out to the ambassador through it. So there's lots of different kind of advantages just in terms of the support and the servicing of that takes away kind of the risk of those horror stories of, I actually don't know who is responsible for my reservation.
Exactly. Yeah. And tell me more about Gondola and like the optimization, the like customer piece, because you anybody, maybe not anybody, but people can make these tools and whatnot. How do you, and you already mentioned this a little bit with, you look at hotel preferences. It's not just look at zip code and then boom, get this hotel.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a little bit more, personalization and that customer experience. So tell me more like why is this tool so helpful?
Yeah. So the kind of the way we think about it is we want to, I imagine people listening to your podcast, frequent travelers, they have a plan in their head for how they travel, right? They might know what hotels they like best or what brands they like best or what they're trying to accomplish. And um, in general, most travel sites don't care about that at all, right? They don't know where you've stayed in the past. They don't know what your preferences are. They don't know all your loyalty numbers, right? And
Mhm.
so, um, what Gondola does that's different is we link with your email. This is optional. You could also choose not to do this, but if you do link with your email, what we're able to do is build um, recommendations for you based off of a hotel you stayed in the past. And so, the way it works is a couple fold. We on the uh, on one side, right, we're going to recommend hotels that are rated highly generally that are we track every hotel's value over time. So
Mhm.
is this a cheap rate over the you know previous year of data and the upcoming year of data where we think that this is actually a five-star hotel you're getting a steal at.
Mm.
We look at what's recommended by various trusted sources like the New York Times or things like that. um, um, and we look at when it was most recently renovated, because in general, kind of a newer hotel is like going to be nicer than an older hotel, particularly for some of these chains. Um, and then we also factor in stuff related to you personally, right? Like where have you stayed in the city before in the past? Is this hotel like that? Are there other hotels like other hotels you stayed in the past? What's your loyalty, right? Are you someone who books every single time with Hyatt, or are you someone who books a third of the time with Hyatt, a third of the time with IHG, a third of the time independent? And can we show you results that way? Um, we look at how close it is to a location you're trying to go. So if you're, looking for a hotel next to Madison Square Garden, we'll
Mm.
recommend hotels next to Madison Square Garden. Um, and so we're factoring all that in. And this is, kind of where technology has gotten really great to then basically say, we're not showing you the top hotels by what gets us the most commission. We're
Yeah.
showing you the hotels based off of what we think you're going to like the best. We're not going to be right all the time, but generally, kind of in the top six, you're going to see a hotel that hopefully speaks to you as someone who cares about travel and is like, oh yeah, Gondola nailed it. That's actually the hotel I want to go to. And that's what we're trying to do there.
Yeah, I think this is different from like now Yelp, which started out as a really good tool. Now it's just pay to play. But
Sure.
actually personalizing that is really helpful. What about like the style of hotel? So like a story like I have is a couple of clients will come to me. They'll say, I really like this hotel from Tennessee. It had a whatever boho style or a modern look. Is that something you're able to factor in or something you're planning to do as people, want those preferences?
We will do it based off similarity of hotels you stayed at in the past.
Yeah.
So, you know, if if you're someone who uh, stays at Residence Inn 90% of the time and then chooses kind of one other hotel, then we might not totally get it. But
Yeah.
I was we do a lot of customer feedback and talk a lot to travelers. And I was talking to one traveler last week who loves this like independent hotel in New York City that
Mhm.
that she goes to all the time. And she was really excited because Gondola found a very similar independent hotel in New York City that she would have never known about and recommended it on dates that the other, her preferred hotel wasn't
Mhm.
available because it's similar. And she
Mhm.
was thrilled because it's like, now I have two hotels I really love in New York City.
Yeah.
Right. So we can be good with that. It really depends, but uh, we are really trying to say, okay, here's the characteristics of the hotels you like. Generally, how much do you spend? What level of stars is it? What brand is it? All that sort of stuff, and say, all right, what hotels are kind of like that? And you know, the way I think of it is like, hopefully in the top six hotels you see, you're seeing one that you're like, that really speaks to me. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah. That's the good mesh of like technology, right? There's some things that are
Yeah.
just too automated. It's like very inauthentic, but this at least paves the way to that.
And we're not running ads on any of it. So there's no incentive for us to show you hotels that are like, uh, that are paying us that you might not like. We're only going to show you the ones that, um, we think you're going to like the best because that's good business for us.
Yeah. So let's talk more about like users and customers. Like who benefits the most from Gondola? Like the people that are watching. Like why? Again, I guess it's a little bit still of a pitch for Gondola, but like why should they use it? Who are who are the people that should be signing up today?
Yeah. I think that there's like three big groups of people using Gondola right now.
Mhm.
The people traveling all the time for work, right? And sorry, I shouldn't say just work. It could be retirees, right? People who are traveling all the time, generally digital nomads, right? The majority of that group is people traveling for work, but there's lots of other people who are, I'm on the road 2/3 of the year, right? In some way. Or even just like, I'm on the road once a month, right? Like that's the core group. Why should they use Gondola? Hopefully we're saving you time, right? We should be saving you time because we know all your loyalty information. We are telling you what hotel we think you're going to like the best. We're making sure you get all of the earnings you can. We're helping you maximize earnings by telling you which credit card to use, all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And just hopefully we're making that really easy for you. The other benefit, right, is this triple stacking piece where, if you're traveling 100 nights a year for work, that extra 7% adds up. That's, another 10 nights free, right, over the course of the year that you're getting from Gondola by virtue of booking a Gondola instead of something else. In
Yeah.
addition to all the Hyatt points and the credit card points you're earning as a piece of that. The second big group I think for us is kind of points people, right? And I think the reason people use us for that is because we do a lot because we search every points rate for the next year and compare it points versus cash. And so we can, I think be pretty helpful for people. We have this explore map. And so if you just say, I want to go to the Caribbean sometime in March with my Marriott points, we're going to surface every possible option for you. And so kind of when that happens, right,
Mhm.
you're able to say, all right, um, I'm looking at the 8 possible point redemptions for me in the month of March at the beach in the Caribbean. It just becomes easier to do that as opposed to doing a bunch of different searches on a bunch of different sites and doing
Yeah.
all that work
Logging
manually.
in and
Exactly,
redoing the
right?
dates and
It's just one
preferences.
place. You want to go for a weekend, we'll let you search for a weekend in March, any weekend in March, any beach hotel, and we'll just tell you what we think are the best deals for that.
Yeah.
The
All right, and
last group is
to
I
hit on that point again, like the other sites, Expedia, Travelocity, it's this is the ad sponsored hotel, and there's just all this extra,
Absolutely.
you know,
Or
things.
even, like it's hard to search on Marriott for the entire Caribbean, right? Like just as an example, right? Like if you're agnostic about what island you go to, you have to search each island individually, and then you have to search each hotel chain at the same time. And you probably are going to check out the credit card portals too. And so it's just a lot of different searches. Again, like our whole desire is to just take out the work for people
Yeah.
so that we can say, all right, here's the 8 hotels you should be considering on these like 3 dates, right? And you can set alerts, we'll show you calendar availability, all the stuff you need so that you don't have to do a ton of different searches as a part of
Mhm.
that. The last group is really, I would say, beginners to travel. And I mean, I started out as just a salesperson, like visiting different parts of the United States for work and trying to teach myself how to do points and miles 15 years ago, right?
Mhm.
And our goal is to just try to make that as easy as possible by just doing good defaults, right? So, I mentioned we'll track your upcoming hotel stays, right? So if you book a points rate or a cash rate, we will let you know when the price drops, so you can just save money, right? If it's refundable, and we'll just reprice that for you. We'll tell you which credit cards to use to maximize points with various hotels because we'll pass your credit card agentically to the hotel. So we'll tell you, all right, should I be using my Marriott card, my Chase card, my Amex card, right? In what should be happening there. We'll tell you about really good points deals. We can set alerts for you. Like there's just lots of stuff that's just basically around like, all right, I'm new to traveling with points. I'm new to traveling for work, whatever it may be. and we're just trying to make it as easy as possible for you to maximize points, earn points, save money more than anywhere else on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, especially as a beginner coming to the points game now, there's just so much to learn. There's so many
So
tools
much to
out
learn.
there, different ecosystems. I've spent hours of my life pouring with blog posts, and I still don't know everything. So I can imagine
Of
a beginner
course.
just wants easy booking, easy redemption, making sure they're getting value.
Yeah, that's 100% it.
Yeah. So going back to the triple stack, we talked about okay, people can earn points from directly from the hotel.
Yeah.
People generally know about credit card points, earning back on their credit cards. When you're booked with Gondola, right? There's Gondola Cash, if I'm
Yeah.
reading this term correctly. Tell me more about that. Like, what should people know about Gondola Cash?
Yeah. So again, we're really trying to build for the frequent traveler and for the person who cares about who recognizes that when they're booking with cash, there's a lot to be earned from points from various different places. And so the way it works is that we have three different status levels. We have member, silver, and gold. Those earn 3, 5, and 7% of your room rate back as points on Gondola, in addition to all the other points you're earning. And so the way to think about Gondola Cash is that it's a currency to use for hotels on Gondola right now. I think we're excited about broadening that and having other ways of doing it. I think we're going to hopefully have rental cars soon.
Hmm.
We'll we're looking at other ways to do that, but kind of the use case we see people using it for is, let's say I'm a Marriott person and I earn a ton of Marriott points every year. Unfortunately, one of the limiting things is, let's say there's just not a Marriott property in a place I'm trying to go, or it's not the hotel I want to stay at.
Hmm.
Fine, then I got to go book a cash rate for that as part of it. The thing that Gondola Cash unlocks is that now actually you have cash that you can use towards that, and then you can make that part of the trip for free. And so, you know, you're traveling in Europe, there's less, American hotel chain availability there. All
Hmm.
of a sudden, then you can still have a free vacation because you've earned so much over the course of the year, or 2 years or 3 years, that you're now able to use that gondola cash to defray the costs and book certain stays for free, basically by using the gondola cash you earn of the year. So that's kind of the use case we see people using, or I mean, on a much simpler scale, like maybe you get invited to a wedding and the wedding block is at an IHG and you're a Marriott person, right? You can make that stay free.
Common problem, yeah.
Right. And so however you want to use it, it allows you to kind of break free of, a single loyalty you might have where you're not changing how you book, you're not changing how you stay at hotels, right? You're changing the booking site, but it's still showing up in your app. You're still getting all the same status perks and stuff. You're just now just accruing an additional currency that then is going to help you stay in more places for free over time that you wouldn't have been otherwise.
Yeah, it keeps the behavior the same, right?
Exactly.
Psychologically versus once there's friction or things are breaking up, you don't go on the trip, you go somewhere else, you have a bad time. I don't know, thousands of other horror stories.
It's the exact same, right? And so that's kind of our piece. We know how powerful loyalty is, right? This is a company that's built for the loyalty age, right?
Mhm.
We know we couldn't build something that wouldn't allow you to earn loyalty because we just know I heard a stat a couple of years ago, and I haven't heard an updated stat, but there's $500 billion worth of points out there in the
Wow.
world, and that's just growing, right? And it's like, yeah, let's help people earn more of those, use them effectively, and so we have to be kind of loyalty first
Yeah.
in order for us to be successful, in this moment in time.
Yeah. And like any piece of technology, there needs to be innovation, new ideas. So you've hinted at rental cars. Is there anything you can tell us, now of things to look forward to or expect with Gondola?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on rental cars. Hopefully that we're able to do that soon. Uh, what are new things? I mean, we're constantly listening to travelers. Like I try to do somewhere between 5 to 10 calls a week with people who are using Gondola to just be like, all right, what's working, what's not working, how can we make it better? And anyone's welcome to email me and try to and set that up as well.
Yeah. So I could
But
put your email up here
yeah,
somewhere
sure,
down.
sure, absolutely. I mean, I'm just Xanac gondola.ai. Um, and It's really helpful because people will say, all right, here's this little quirk of um, how I travel. And it's not actually a little quirk. It's actually, something thousands of travelers are doing, but we just didn't kind of accomplish that specific use case for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, just an example from last week. Um, we didn't have a filter for airport shuttles, right? As being something that's like really important for this group. And it's like,
Mhm.
great, we can go add airport shuttles in a couple days,
Yeah.
of work, and then all of a sudden you can search by that, and then we'll also make it so that we'll prioritize hotels for you that have airport shuttles if you're booking hotels with airport shuttles in the past, and we can kind of factor that in for people. And so anyway, it's great to kind of just learn about these things and from people who are traveling all the time and just trying to make gondola better for them. And
Yeah.
so, you know, definitely big things on the horizon, but I think a lot of the most important stuff we're doing is just about um, uh, again, like if you're a points person, if you're traveling all the time, you have preferences and you have a way about that you go about doing things. And how can we make the app do as much of that as possible for you so that it's just about you enjoying the trip as opposed to you being like, I got to go check the website every day to make sure that I didn't get a better rate. No, just like Gondola do for you, we'll send you an email when the rate one goes down.
Yeah. It's nice that's the technology and AI that's putting the, human centricity to make my life
Absolutely,
easier versus doing
absolutely.
more.
The
So,
motto on that is Gondola is loyal to you. That's what we want to be. We want to be like loyal to the traveler, right?
yeah.
As part of that.
So I want to circle back because I realized we went ahead and started talking about Ghana. Like, how did you guys
Yeah,
start this idea? Was this tagline that you just said, loyal to you, the very like core of it? I want to, hear about the origin story.
it's interesting. Most of the technology that powers travel was built 20 years ago, right? And sometimes like way more than that, right? It's just, it's very interesting. Like a lot of the biggest travel companies were kind of built in around 2000, right? As that moment in time. And since then, a lot of things have changed, right? SBG's loyalty program, 10, 15 years ago was a big kind of unlock of what a loyalty looked like. I think, Chase Sapphire as a product was a something that really went viral, I guess 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And really kind of uh, brought points earning to the general population in a way that it really wasn't before. And so for us, kind of understanding, all right, there's $500 billion of points out there, but there isn't really something that uh, uh, is built for people uh, uh, with points and loyalty at its core. And it's interesting. We started this at the same time. There's a lot of other companies that kind of, I think, had that same thesis and started building at the same time, right?
Mhm.
But in that moment in time, it was like, all right, COVID just happened. You're starting to think about what to build, and we were just really excited about building in a loyalty space and building to help people earn, help people save, help people maximize, right, as a piece of this. And so we did a lot of different experiments and just kind of built things and saw what resonated. And ultimately, that's kind of what led to Gondola. And I think for us, I think the biggest piece that was the unlock is that um, you spend time talking to people who travel as points enthusiasts and as frequent travelers.
Mhm.
Um, they just have real preferences for how they travel, right? And I feel that too. I'm 6'4". I sit in the same seat on United every single time, right? Like when I take a United flight, I am sitting in the exit row aisle, 21D or C every single time I can, right? Because if I can't work in any other seat, right? As a piece of that. And so how can we help translate those preferences? United doesn't automatically put me in that seat, even though it should, because I take 50 flights a year and I sit in the same seat every time, right?
Doesn't even save my
But
email when I.
right. It doesn't say your email, right? And so like I love United. This is and they've done
Yeah,
a lot
I'm
of
not
really
a side
amazing.
Dulles. I fly them all the time.
Yeah, I love United. They've done like amazing job building, I think, a really wonderful app. But there isn't that level of like, cool. we know what you want when it's so clear what I'm telling them what I want, right? And then do that. And so I think that's kind of how we were like thinking about it, which is you have this loyalty, you care about booking direct, you care about um, the real kind of compensation you earn from hotels by being loyal to them. How do we make it then really easy for you to impart your preferences on that system such that you're able to um, uh, save time and money as a part of that, right? And so that's kind of what the origin story was around Gondola.
Yeah, that's a great origin story. And let's
Thanks.
skip ahead all the way now to 2026. Could be about Gondola, but want to just get your thoughts. Like what excites you most about points, miles, hotels, rewards, even AI technology heading into this year and beyond?
Yeah. Um, so I think one of the things that I think is uh, most exciting is it feels like um, there are more brands, more coverage for various different kind of hotel chains than ever before. And I
Hmm.
think, I love independent hotels. I think there's great independent hotels too. But if you think about kind of like points, redemptions, points, earning, I think that there was a lot of times when, uh, 5 years ago, where if you were, a Hyatt person, you would get to a city and there just wouldn't be an option there, right? And I think as you've seen kind of the increased growth, Hyatt with Mr. and Mrs. Smith and the Standard and Hilton with graduate hotels, Marriott, there's lots of new brands that they're adding. Like there's lots of really kind of interesting new um, opportunities for for earning and for points redemption that weren't possible a couple of years ago. Though I think there is this growth of all these big loyalty chains and programs that I think as a traveler is beneficial, particularly if you are traveling for work and going to new places, and also if you're traveling for leisure and you're you know there was no Marriott hotels in Sicily 3 years ago, right? And now there's a handful, for example, that you could visit.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Even not just the hotel side, like I remember Airbnb came out. I loved it as a college student because it was like I can stay in someone's basement for $7 in one night.
Absolutely.
Now the direction is more of that, whole house luxury, even like the similar to Verbo, and then I don't know
Yeah.
if you've heard of Journey, like they're trying to
Hmm.
find that loyalty piece, in that side of the space. So yeah, I agree that it's like gives travelers more options and more cool
More
things
options.
to book.
Yeah, no, there's a lot more options than there were 5 years ago and even 10 years ago. And I mean, that's it just means more places you get to go and more
Yeah,
places that you are excited to explore, and
explore the
that's
world.
that's a really really cool thing I think for travelers of any stripe.
Yeah. No, thank you again for answering all these questions. I want to give you the last word. Anything else you want to share, or obviously I'll have Gondola AI, text somewhere over here on the screen. But is there anything else you wanted to shout out or share?
Yeah, I think the only thing I just wanted to share is we're doing a status challenge right now for Gondola where if you want to earn those higher statuses, silver and gold, and get increased earnings about that, we're going to give you an easy way to do it. I think you have to book 5 nights to get silver and book 10 nights to get gold, and they can be stays for any day in the future, but just kind of within those 30 days to basically again increase the earnings possibility for frequent travelers. So people have loved that so far. It's just it's free money. You're just earning more money by virtue of doing bookings within a time frame, and so um, yeah, recommend that. And I think that for people who are trying to earn points, it's a really good way to do so.
Great. Yeah, I'll post the instructions either on the screen or in the description. But again, thank you
Yeah,
so much, Dan, for taking the time.